While delivering a meal, this food delivery driver accidentally discovered that a police uniform was hanging in the customer's living room. He couldn't help but stare for a moment, and even his hand movements as he took the money were a bit distracted. The man who had ordered the meal found it strange but didn't think much of it. But just as he was about to eat, there was another knock at the door. It was the delivery driver, who had returned. As soon as he walked in, he told the police officer about a strange and mysterious occurrence. For the past 3 months, every Thursday at 12:34 a.m., he had received a regular order from the same girl. Each order included a note with a funny joke or two, asking him to bring an extra packet of ketchup or to pick up a bottle of ice-cold Coke on his way. Every time she picked up her order, the girl was wearing a different cartoon-themed face mask. She never spoke a word, but her eyes were always full of laughter. It was like a little game just between the two of them, making the delivery guy's grueling days finally a little more bearable. All his budding romantic thoughts were focused on the girl. Every Thursday, he'd wait for her order right on time. But this Thursday, things took a turn. Not only did the girl order early, but there wasn't a single note on the order. The delivery guy felt a sudden jolt of unease. He just had a feeling something was off. He hopped on his scooter and raced over as fast as he could. But when he knocked on the door, there was no sound from inside. He pressed his ear against the door and faintly heard some movement inside. Thinking she was playing a joke on him, he pretended to say he'd heard her voice. This time, the door opened. There was that familiar cartoon face mask again, but the eyes peeking out held not a trace of a smile, only unmasked terror. The moment he took the order, the girl suddenly squeezed Mark's hand hard, but at the time, Mark didn't think much of it. It wasn't until after he left that the girl's terrified gaze kept flashing through his mind. He suddenly realized it was a cry for help. Mark hurried back the way he came, but no matter how hard he knocked, there was not a single sound from inside. The persistent knocking, however, alerted a neighbor next door. Mark quickly explained that he was a food delivery driver and had just delivered a meal to the girl in that apartment, but the neighbor said the place was completely unoccupied. He immediately called the police. When the officers arrived at the scene, they confirmed with the property management that the female owner of the house, Lisa, had died in a car accident 6 months earlier. The house had been vacant ever since. No one lived there at all. They all thought Mark had hallucinated from staying up late and filed a false report, but only Mark himself knew that all of this was real. He frantically dug out his delivery orders from the past 3 months, trying to prove it. In the end, the police did not file a criminal case on the grounds that there was no clear victim. They only filed a report. But Mark could never put his mind at rest. Late at night, he would always recall the girl's face with the face mask on. He even became distracted at work, until one day, when he delivered food to a police officer's home, he caught a glimpse of a police uniform in the living room, and finally told the whole story. This police officer, who had worked as a forensic pathologist for over a decade, initially thought Mark was under too much pressure from his delivery job and was having mental health issues, so he checked his pupils and found him to be perfectly normal. But according to regulations, without a clear victim, the police couldn't officially file a case. The officer immediately decided to take a criminal psychologist and forensic technicians to personally investigate that so-called haunted house, but he never could have imagined that this investigation would uncover even stranger things. The house looked spotless, with no signs of anyone having lived there, yet an eerie atmosphere permeated every corner. Although the refrigerator was unplugged, it still emitted a chill, whether from the faucet or the toilet. Only clear water flowed out. You see, in any house left vacant for more than 2 weeks, the stagnant water in the pipes would have long since turned murky. It was simply impossible for it to be this clean. Immediately afterward, the police found a strand of hair with a hair follicle attached, next to the drain in the bathroom. In forensic science, only hair that has fallen out within the last 24 hours retains an intact, fresh follicle. Clearly, someone had been in this house recently. What was most spine-chilling was that, after the female officer checked the computer in the house, she discovered that just 7 days after the homeowner's death, the computer had suddenly come back online. The user's browsing habits were identical to those of the deceased, Lisa, visiting the same websites, playing the same games, and even logging in at exactly the same times. But what was even stranger was that the entire house had been clean spotless. Apart from that single strand of hair, not a single intact fingerprint could be found. Since there were no signs of forced entry on the door locks, they suspected that Lisa's parents might have given the keys to someone else, so they went to visit the family. The man confirmed that his daughter, Lisa, had indeed died in a car accident. Apart from the copy held by the property management, the house keys had never been given to anyone else, and the set of keys Lisa had been carrying was lost after the accident. They then collected a DNA sample from Lisa's father, but the test results showed that the fresh strand of hair found by the drain did not belong to Lisa at all. The police felt they must have overlooked something. Mark said the girl always wore a face mask whenever she opened the door. However, according to the female officer's investigation, Lisa's friends all said she never used face masks in her lifetime. The police immediately saw a breakthrough. The team rushed back and carefully examined the face masks in the drawer. Sure enough, on the outer packaging of one of the masks, they successfully extracted half a fingerprint, but just this half fingerprint was far from enough. Based on their previous investigation, the police believed the girl had been living there for nearly 6 months, so it was impossible that she had never crossed paths with her neighbors. So he immediately visited an elderly woman living in the same building. The elderly woman told told the police that just a week ago, the girl had saved her life. At the time, she had just returned from grocery shopping when she suffered a hypoglycemic episode and nearly fainted. She happened to run into the girl as she was opening her door. Meanwhile, while surveying the surrounding buildings, the female officer noticed a young man across the street filming a short video. She instantly realized he might have inadvertently captured footage of this apartment. So, on a whim, she tracked down the young man filming the video and successfully added him on social media. After reviewing each of his videos one by one, they indeed spotted the girl in one of them.